It's an economy run almost entirely on fraud. And fraud is celebrated. Like the movie The Wolf of Wall Street. People don't see that as a cautionary tale and they should avoid committing fraud. It's used as a playbook by this generation. Like, I'm going to steal whatever I can as fast as I can. That's the morals. That's the ethos you find. This is why El Salvador has become the beacon. El Salvador is now the shining city on the hill. El Salvador is now where hope lives in the world because you have a president who recognized the potential of Bitcoin early, who recognized that everything else was garbage. And none of these scandals are hitting El Salvador right now. There's no FTX scandal. There's no Mike Novogratz. There's no Charles Hoskinson. There's no Brock Pierce in El Salvador because he pushed them all out. And now they formally created a Bitcoin office. They formally created new securities laws, which will open the way for volcano bonds. So they're going to escape the IMF by producing their own volcano bond financing mechanism, which I'm consulting on.
What's a volcano bond?
So you're tapping into geothermal energy to reward investors with a Bitcoin dividend via a bond offering, essentially is what it is. So it's a volcano-backed bond. And the proceeds are used to enhance their geothermal energy capacity because they have a lot of stranded energy. We already know it works because in Iceland, they developed a huge Bitcoin mining industry tapping into the Icelandic geothermal energy, of which they have a lot. Before, Iceland, the way that they would export that energy is that they invited aluminum smelters to come, like Alcoa, and they smelt aluminum in Iceland using the very cheap geothermal energy.
Yes.
Then they export that aluminum.
It takes enormous energy to smelt metal.
Right. So that's a GDP boost for Iceland because they can't export the energy because energy degrades as you leave the source. But if you create an aluminum ingot, you can export it. You see what I'm saying? So they turn geothermal into aluminum. Here in El Salvador, they're turning geothermal into Bitcoin, the hardest money known to man in history that gives financial freedom to all Salvadorans and anyone around the world, and unconfiscatable, immutable, uncensorable money. And President Bukele recognized that early. He's been tweeting about it since 2017, and he's got a full Bitcoin plate, a full agenda, which is in motion right now. So this is really happening. So El Salvador is really becoming a beacon of hope.
What are your thoughts on Max Keiser's assessment of the FTX collapse? Please drop your comments and observations in the comments section below. Also, ensure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and check out our other crypto-related videos. Everything you do helps with the YouTube algorithm and contributes to the channel's growth. Thanks for watching.
And to be very specific, so most people are talking about maybe $14,000 Bitcoin or 10,000, and I get that. I mean, if you look at the top 70,000 and you go, you take minus 80% from that, you get to the 14,000. And yeah, and in the past, crashes would be 80% from the top, even 85. So if you take 85% from the 70, you get to the 10K. So I get that, but it's not I mean, those were one or two crashes. You can't make predictions like that. And yes, it could happen, but it might as well not happen.
These remaining few days before the next Last Wednesday, Federal Reserve Chair made investors very happy when he hinted in a speech that the central bank could soon pull the brakes on its historically high pace of rate hikes. However, during the same speech, Powell admitted that the path ahead for inflation remains highly uncertain. Regardless of what the market wants, the much-coveted Fed pivot might remain out of reach for a while longer. Like the traditional financial markets, the crypto markets will also be impacted by whatever decision the Fed makes next week and during subsequent meetings. It is, in fact, a double threat for Bitcoin and the entire crypto market, which is still battling the aftermath of the FTX collapse. Whatever uncertainty awaits the industry in 2023, popular independent Bitcoin analyst Plan B is convinced that the bottom is in for the world's leading crypto asset. In a recent interview with Scott Melker, the former institutional investor discusses the widespread highly bearish Bitcoin price predictions. While many other top analysts expect Bitcoin to decline further to $14,000 or lower, Plan B explains that the reason for such predictions might be erroneous. He adds that 80% drops might be the norm for previous bear markets, but there are no indicators that the same will occur now, especially since Bitcoin did not have a blow off top last year. We will now take you to Plan B's interview with Melker. But before we do, please take a little time to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on post notifications. Also, ensure you drop your comments and observations in the comments section below to help the video reach more crypto lovers. Thanks, and enjoy the video.
Very much looking forward to what the future brings, and I hope we will not see too many FTXs or Ukraine wars or China mining bans, because those were, of course, the real causes that spoiled our party when we were all dreaming about 100K. I think we really would make that 100K if China would not have spoiled the party at the time with the mining ban. Again, it's the third parties, the exchanges, not the assets or the protocols itself, but the third parties, the ecosystem around it that caused the trouble, and why that has such a large impact still on the market is beyond me. Yeah, I understand that companies that default have to sell their stuff, and people that default or get margin calls, they have to sell their stuff too, so that there's a lot of downward pressure. But it's very important to see it's about it's not about the Bitcoin protocol or the other assets. It's not about the asset. It's about the third parties, the companies, the people that do bad things around it. Around that, yeah, and especially FTX is a classic example that makes me think of Mt. Gox. Yeah, it's and I know one thing for sure: we'll see it again. I mean, in 5 years from now, another exchange will blow up, and somebody will steal the money, and that's a risk. I thought by now we would know and not be. Yeah. Well, I agree that humanity will be driven by greed and fear, like last year and 1,000 years ago. that will stay. That is human, greed and fear. So we will have cycles, we will have crashes again, and FOMO tops and bull markets. But yeah, at least if the number of people that does self-custody doubles because of this crash, it's all worth it.
Does anything for you change in your perception of the asset?
No, not at all. Not at all. Even the inflation hedge thing. For me, Bitcoin is not per se a inflation hedge. It's far more. I like these old clips from the internet. What is the internet? What people in 2000 explained what the internet is, and nobody can really, even Bill Gates cannot really describe what it is right, and what it does for the world right now. I think Bitcoin has a similar function, and we can't really describe very well what Bitcoin is. And Satoshi said something like that as well in the beginning. But no, nothing has changed. I'm still in awe with the simplicity of Bitcoin, of combining the encryption and the proof of work and the peer-to-peer. Just three fundamental technologies into one thing, where we don't need anybody to make an account. It's just a random number. The account, the private key, and the derived address is just a random number. Everybody can make that themselves. Nobody needed for that. Transactions, same thing. You can just make and send your own transactions. No need for a bank. And the network, peer-to-peer, that's how the music downloads and BitTorrent is. You can't kill that. So good luck. It's here to stay. It's like, I see it as electricity, as the invention of the automobile or the internet itself, indeed.
In his interview, Plan B also discusses how threatened central banks and other traditional financial industries feel about Bitcoin. He compares their reaction to Bitcoin to the way telecommunication companies reacted to Skype when it was first released. Just as they have had to come to terms with the fact that the application's similar apps are here to stay, Plan B believes central bankers and financial regulators will also have to accept Bitcoin with open arms. Here is another clip from the interview as the pseudonymous analyst also discusses the return of big money investors into the cryptocurrency space.
The central banks struggling with that, like it reminds me of the telcos at the time. Like, hey, yeah, when Skype came, shit, now you can do voice calls for free on the internet, and our business model is gone. Oh, we're gonna ban Skype and voice over IP from our internet subscriptions. Yeah, they can, and right now the banks are are saying, hey, you can't do Bitcoin transactions to fiat, or we cap it at $1,000 or whatever. And they're all fighting their existential threat. But in the end, probably they'll embrace it like the telcos embraced it, and that's yeah, very optimistic actually. Yeah, I don't think at the moment a lot of institutions are looking at putting it on a balance sheet.
Right.
They are, however, putting it in the funds. So that's not for their risk and return, but for the client's risk and return. Yeah, that will be the first step. And the ETF, of course, is a big thing. Why that isn't approved is, well, something for the historians and the lawyers later on. But you could say that all this, and I certainly see that, this whole FTX debacle with people bringing their money to the Bahamas outside the U.S. jurisdiction is in part to blame on the SEC for not approving the
100%.
yeah, and not providing a legal framework is as bad as so not allowing the not allowing the ETF is worse than allowing the ETF. And
On the issue of cryptocurrency regulation following the FTX collapse, the United Kingdom has become the first country to make moves toward implementing adequate regulation for the cryptocurrency industry. According to recent reports, the country is now finalizing plans on making significant regulatory changes to the industry and its interaction with overseas corporations. A spokesperson of the UK Treasury said this to reporters following the reports. The UK is committed to creating a regulatory environment in which firms can innovate while crucially maintaining financial stability and regulatory standards so that people and businesses can use new technologies both reliably and safely. What are your thoughts on Plan B's interview and the United Kingdom's incoming crypto regulation? How do you think said regulation will affect the cryptocurrency industry in 2023 and beyond? Please drop your comments and observations in the comments section below. Also, ensure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on post notifications for more videos like this. Thanks for watching.
Karaditçi sallu. Au. Karaditçi sallu. Efetsmawello. Karaditçi sallu. Efetsmawello. Karaditçi sallu. Karaditçi sallu. Efetsmawello.
Fatsemawallo. Peredici hallo. Ma adinko fare.
Karaditçi. Au. Gündengani.
Hel subsali.
Karaditçi sallu. Au. Efetsmawello. Karaditçi sallu. Gündengani. Gündengani.
Hel subsali.
Au. Enjet falatning.
Esci. Fatsemawallo. Esci. Fatsemawallo. Fatsemawallo. Esci. Peredici hallo.
Enjet falatning. Gündengani.
Selamne. Gin banyan. Gin banyan.
Zazi shintsijin.
Ezazin sisi. Enchech velajni.
Selamneş. Eşi. Enjet falatning. Au. Enjet falatning. Zazi sallu. Enjet falatning.
Enchech velajni.
Selamneş. Zgitchen enjet falatning.
Selamne. Hel subsali.
Au. Enjet falatning. Zazi gündengani. Selamneş. Enjet falatning.
Enchech velajni.
Zgitchen. Karaditçi sallu. Againing.
Fatsemawallo. Ma adinko fare. Ma adinko fare. Ma adinko fare.
Au. Enjet falatning. Zazi falatning. Zgitchen enjet falatning. Selamneş. Zazi enjet falatning. Selamneş. Au. Zgitchen enjet falatning. Au. Selamneş. Zazi Karaditçi sallu. Gündengani.
Hel subsali. Gin banyan. Maadinko fare. Au. Gin banyan. Gin banyan.
Againing. Selamneş.
Au. Tenke komelo.
Fessimo gaining. Zugicune. Zaza Shinsuji. Salam gaining. Ow, gaining. Zugicune. Zaza Shinsuji. Ow, gaining. Salam nesh. Gündengani. Zaza Shinsuji. Gündengani. Eshi. Fessimo Gündengani. Gündengani.
Au. Gin banyan. Zugidune. En chech valajni.
Salam nesh. Eshi. Gündengani.
Salamne. Gin banyan. Zugidune. Gin banyan.
Zugicune. Fessimo gaining.
Au.
Zaza
Fattene
Salam nesh. Esh. Ow. Gaining. En jet
Gin banyan. Salam. Gin banyan.
Zugicune. Gündengani.
Zugidune. Gin banyani. Au. El subsabi.
Zaza Shinsuji.
Salamne. Gin banyan. Gin banyan.
Salam nesh. Zugicune. Gündengani. En jet
En chech valajni.
Ow. Fessimo Ma
Au. El subsabi.
Salam Gündengani.
Au. El subsabi.
Ow. En jet Salam jet
El subsabi. Zugidune.
Zaza Shinsuji. En jet
En chech valajni.
Ow. Gündengani.
Gin banyan.
Gündengani.
Gin banyan. Zugidune. Gin banyan. Eshi. Au. En chech valajni. Au. Maadin ko fare.
Salam nesh. Gündengani.
Gin banyan. Gin banyan.
Zaza Gündengani.
Au. Salamne. Zugidune. Gin banyan. Gin banyan. Maadin ko fare.
Ow. En jet
Maadin ko fare. Au. Gin banyan. Tezazin sisijin.
Tezazin shinsijin. Esci. Au. Esci. Sallo. Fetzmo. Bendegnani.
Zigidjune. Enchit velajnin. Tezazin sisijin. Enchit velajnin. Gin banyan.
Au. Au. Au.
Zigidjune. Gin banyan.
Bendegnani. Tezazin shinsijin.
Efetarisi. Peganza bewalu. Efetsa bewalu. Au. Au.
Gin banyan.
Zigidjune. Kofarimen.
Gin banyan.
Selam Neş. Günbenganing. Hülsap
Zigit
Sabin.
Ginbanyan.
Günbenganing. Au. Sizler zişin zikrening. Selam Neş. Günbenganing.
Gin banyan. Au. Gin banyani. Ehel subsabini.
Begaret Zafetsan Sukuchunin.
Zigidjune. Gin banyan.
Au. Günbenganing.
Selamne. Gin banyan.
Selam Neş. Maatal Kofaline. Günbenganing. Kofaline.
Zigidjune. Gin banyan.
Sizler zişin sıcı. Günbenganing. Neş. Günbenganing.
Enchech velajni. Gin banyani. Gin banyan. Enchech velamne. Gin banyan. Au. Efatse mawad. Gin banyan. Enchech velajni.
Sizler zişin Günbenganing. Kofaline.
Selamne. Au. Gin banyan.
Zigidjune. Günbenganing.
Zigidjune. Gin banyani.